Project 13-4 covers setting up a web server. We're going to do our CentOS 7 virtual machine. Double check and make sure the adapter is set to bridged. And start your CentOS. Once CentOS starts, you'll need to get to a command shell. You can go to the Control-Alt-F2 or open a command shell in the graphical interface and log in as root. We're in as root. We need to install the web server. That'd be yum. Install HTTP and D, meaning we're going to install the program for an HTTP protocol, D being a daemon. Here it's waiting for PackageKit to end, process 2286. I could open up another tab and kill that process, allowing yum to install. Once installed, it wants us to check the configuration file for the word document root. This case sensitive. And it shows the document root is var www HTML. So there's where our website should go. We're going to create files for displaying over the internet. It also wants us to look up document index, meaning what is the first file loaded when somebody goes to your website. Directory index instead of document index. The file needs to be named index.html. So if somebody was to go to your site, it'll auto-load that, and they don't have to type the name of the file to view the web page. Next, we're going to look for a user space. So we're surrounding it in quotation marks because we have a space in there. The user is Apache. So when we start the program up, it runs as a user account called Apache. And the group is Apache. Here I'm going to look at the ID of Apache. I could also grep Apache out of the passwd file and view the account and see that it has no login shell. So somebody cannot hack this account and get a shell prompt. Now they want us to check the configuration file. There's a couple of warnings. Can't resolve the host name, but the basic syntax is okay for the rest of the configuration file, so no major errors were found. Now they want us to create a web page. This is a very crude web page. We're going to create one under the var www HTML directory, and we're going to name it index.html, all lowercase, because we've seen that up above that our directory index had to be a file called index.html. We're inputting very brief HTML tags, missing some that should be in there. such as head and title and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and put my name in mine. If you notice, all HTML tags that are started are ended with a / in the tag name. There are some special tags that work a little bit differently. But we're not learning HTML programming. We're just creating a real simple file so we can view it. Now, let's start. System control, start, HTTPD. So I'll start the web server. And then we're going to use a command line tool to view the file returned if we go to the web server. We use our local loopback address, and it should show the HTML file that we just created. You should also take a screenshot. Next, we'll do a test. We won't be going across the network, but we're going to send 1,000 requests to our local server. Don't forget the last /, it will fail if you don't. So we sent 1,000 requests to the server. That was pretty quick, testing out the speed of it. They want us to look at the access log. And I wanted to say how big this file was. Well, if I hit the equal mark, it shows that there's 1,001 lines. I prefer to use the word count command, -L, look at the number of lines of a file. So there's 1,001. We did our benchmark test of 1,000 queries, and then we also run the curl command before to get the web page. So that was our 1,001. Now let's open the firewall temporarily. That way we can access the web page from our Windows machine. I'll type ifconfig and get my address. I will then open up a Windows web browser and put in the IP address of my ENP0S3 adapter. It will view the website that I created. And now it wants us to look at the permissions on the file. We see it's read-write, read, and read. The owner and group are set to root. It wants us to change the permission to 640. So that takes away the read for everybody else on the system. If I try to go in and reload, I will get forbidden, because remember the last set is for everybody. So nobody but root can read the file. That way we can't view it as an anonymous person from our Windows machine. So we can set it back to 644 and do a refresh, and the page will come back. But since Apache is the application running, I want to try and changing the ownership and the group to Apache. So I'm going to type Apache : that sets the user and the group. If I put a colon there, it sets them both to the same name, since we had a user Apache and a group called Apache. So now look, Apache owns it. So if it's the web server running, it should be able to read the file. Let's experiment. Refresh. It does work. So I didn't have to set that 644 back. I just had to give it the correct ownership of the person running the web server itself. I'm going to switch it back to root, because that could possibly be a security flaw. Somebody can hack the HTTP daemon and get the Apache account. Then they could modify the files. So if I change it back to root, change it back to 644, we'll see that root owns it. If I use the correct command, chmod, instead of trying to add a user called 644, things will look better. So now the file is owned by root. If somebody was to get the Apache account access, they still cannot edit the index file because it's owned by root and the group is root. And then other people on the system, which would be the Apache account, would have read only to the file. I'll refresh to make sure my page still works. And that completes this lab.